Hey, what's up there, Nas? Yeah, no problem, bro. How we doing? How are we doing tonight? What'd you think of Monday Night Raw? Guys, as you make your way in here tonight, be sure to hit that subscribe button if you have not already. Also, hit that thumbs up. Hit the like button. Everything helps contribute to the channel. And I can't believe we're just a few days away from WrestleMania 41, man. Tonight was a relatively decent show. Nothing too crazy, but I think we got enough on this go-home episode of Raw. And we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about the entirety of Monday Night Raw leading into night one and night two of WrestleMania 41 in Vegas this weekend. So, yeah, you weren't too fond of it, Nas? Yeah, I'm excited for Mania, man. Again, tonight was nothing too crazy, but my favorite part was probably what was the main event segment, right? With mainly Roman Reigns, Paul Heyman, and then, of course, Seth making his way out. Then we saw Punk there at the end. Very interesting situation, which I can't wait to dive into because not only do I think Heyman and Seth will probably be together before WrestleMania 41 is a wrap, not only do I think they'll be side by side, but I also do think that there's a much bigger picture to it, right? Possibly involving The Rock, but we'll get to that in a little bit. Since the way Roman walked in on Paul was pretty funny with Punk. Yeah, it was. Yeah, I love the video packages we got separately. We had Bianca, then we had Rhea, and then we also had Io Sky all throughout the course of the show. I loved it as well. I'm excited for that women's triple threat match. Fan31, what's going on? Yeah, what is your question? Feel free to post it in the comments. Guys, if you haven't already, be sure to hit that subscribe button, all right? Hit that thumbs up. Make your way in here, hit the sub, hit the like, and we're going to get to the review in a couple of minutes. This was the go-home episode of Monday Night Raw. Okay, we're just a few days away, man. WrestleMania is here, and regardless what you think of this build for 41, many say, oh, it's nothing like last year, or even some years previous, and I get that. I get that completely, and I really find it hard to disagree with you guys. But I think when all is said and done, when Monday morning comes around, I think we're going to say we got a damn good weekend of wrestling. Few things I would have liked to see on this card, like the Street Profits defend their tag titles. The women's IC and the women's US title probably should have been defended in its inaugural year. But, all in all, I do think we're going to have a great weekend of wrestling at WrestleMania 41. So we're going to go over the review in just 2 minutes, guys, from start to finish tonight's Monday Night Raw go-home episode. So welcome in. Hey, guys, no spam in the chat. Hunter, what's going on, man? Be sure to also, guys, again, hit that subscribe button. And we'll get started in just a moment. Plenty to discuss. No matches added after tonight. I know the last couple of weeks they've been adding quite a few matches, but we're still at 7 matches for night 1. We're at 6 matches for night 2. Now, whether or not, we'll find out Friday if they add Randy Orton versus maybe Solo Sikoa, who would be taking the place of Kevin Owens. That could possibly be the 7th match for night 2, making it, 7-7, total of 14. I think last year was 7-7, if I'm not mistaken. Definitely was no more than 8-8. But hey, what's up there, Adrian? I appreciate you, man. All right, thanks for stopping in, brother. Appreciate you as always, man. Look forward to catching up with you later on this week, especially Friday Night SmackDown going into Mania weekend. I'll definitely be here on YouTube. So, guys, also, if you're subscribed to me on YouTube already, thank you. Again, hit the subscribe. You could follow me on TikTok. That is another platform where I go live relatively frequently. Especially this week, going into the weekend, I'll be on TikTok a lot as well. So YouTube, TikTok, you could also follow me on Instagram, X, and Facebook. All right, at Turnbuckle, Topix. Same handle for all 5 of those platforms. So you can check me out there as well. And yeah, man, thanks again, Adrian. All right, guys, so without further ado, let's get to this Monday Night Raw review here on April 14th, 2025. Welcome in, gang. I will read the comments throughout, so just bear with me. I'm going to take my time, but keep it moving, if you know what I mean. So it opened up with the ring general. He made Michael Cole get up to interview him. Now, this segment was, according to Cole, supposed to happen later on in the night, but Gunther wasn't going to wait. So he has Michael Cole get up there. He has him ask him a few questions, but realistically, Gunther just took over the segment. Ring general says Jay told him to his face that he's not afraid of him last week, and he's here now to look everyone in the eyes and tell us that Jey Uso is full of crap. Gunther then grabbed the mic from Cole and says, screw the Yeet. Basically, screw anyone that stands by him and claims he's the greatest He was basically saying screw everybody, which Gunther is a very strong promo, whether you like him or not. Um, he wasn't going to let the crowd deter him, like they did with Charlotte a couple of weeks ago, right, where she totally lost her train of thought out there with Tiffany Stratton and that whole debacle. Gunther was not going to let the fans get the best of him. Michael Cole actually even, kind of helped Gunther inadvertently, basically telling them to quiet down, simmer down, so he could ask some questions or discuss things, which obviously helped a little bit. Gunther goes on to say 80% of the time with the company, he's been a champion, whether that was NXT UK champion, Intercontinental champion, obviously the longest reigning IC champion from, I want to say, June of 2022 when he defeated Ricochet, shortly after coming up to the main roster on Friday Night SmackDown all the way through April 6th last year, I believe, night one of Mania, where Sami Zayn defeated him to become a four-time IC champion. And now he's the World Heavyweight Champion, and he's done so since SummerSlam when he beat Damian Priest. So anyway, he refuses to let somebody like Jey Uso ruin him for that. Tells Jey to puff his chest out and walk into Mania confident because it won't matter, since at the end of the day, the bell has to ring. And when that happens, Uso can't lace his boots, and he'll put him down for a fourth consecutive time, as he's done so before, whether it was in IC title matches, World Heavyweight title matches. He said it's going to be just like we've seen in previous. He pretty much wrapping this up. He goes, for the last 2 weeks, he's been told he went too far with Jimmy Uso. We all knew what that was about. When Jey was zip-tied to the rope, Jimmy was full of color, and while losing his actual color, if you know what I mean. And he beat him up pretty bad. We haven't seen Jimmy Uso since. Big Jim wasn't looking so tough after that night. He tells Jey to pray to the Lord to thank him that he was in control, because if he hadn't, he would have been drowning them both in Jimmy's blood. He's looking forward to next week to calling his mother and telling her how much he enjoyed beating the living hell out of Jey Uso and walking out as the World Heavyweight Champion. That was that. So this was a very strong segment and response from Gunther, who was totally caught off guard last week. He was totally caught off guard by Jey Uso's very strong, emotionally driven promo. And we know Jey's capable of that. And we knew he was going to deliver. At least I did, because Jey's a very emotional being. And seeing what happened last week or 2 weeks ago to his brother Jimmy at the hands of Gunther, you knew that he was going to come out there with a good response last week. So, guys, before we move forward with the Bayley-Liv Morgan singles match, be sure to hit the subscribe button. All right, hit that subscribe button. Hit the like button on this live. I appreciate it. I'm going to be with you guys a few times, definitely this week. Also, later in the week, Friday Night SmackDown review immediately following the show. Jumping right in, the WrestleMania 41, man. So, and I'm also looking to do a review after night 1 and night 2. Okay, both immediately following the show. I'm not sure as yet if I'm going to hop on YouTube or if I'm going to hop on TikTok Live. Hell, I may do both, like I do a lot of the time. So what I'll probably do is do a review on YouTube Live immediately following the show Saturday and Sunday. But you can also follow me over on TikTok as well, at Turnbuckle TOPIX, where I will also be giving you guys a review of the show as well. TikTok, it's usually less bit by bit. Here I'm very in-depth. But either way, I'll try to hop on both platforms if I can. 31 asks, Roman will join Cena and The Rock, as it was The Rock that put on the Ulafala. The story will all come together at WrestleMania Night 2 and make Cody lose the title to Cena. Interesting, 31. Very, very interesting. I'm still kind of leaning with the school of thought that a guy like Seth Rollins, who we would probably least expect to join back up, or to join up in general with The Rock, I'm kind of leaning towards a Seth Rollins, Paul Heyman combination joining the Rock in this team corporate type of deal that we're going to see in the coming weeks and months. So that's where I'm going with it. Obviously, it's very hard to believe because this time last year, much like Cody and Roman didn't like each other, Rock and Seth were not the biggest fans of one another either. So it is hard to conceptualize Seth joining up with The Rock, regardless of how long Cena's a heel or not. That's a pretty wild scene, though. Pretty wild scene. So we'll see what happens. Did I watch Samantha's video? Yes, I did, Nas. Thank you for sending it to me, man. I know you sent it a couple of days ago. I finally got to it last night. So, yeah, it was definitely something. Definitely a very interesting music video. Nice song, though. Nice song. So let's jump into Bayley-Liv Morgan, okay? Liv Morgan, one half of the Women's Tag Team Champions, and Bayley going to be one half of the opponents for them at WrestleMania. So long story short, let's just jump to the conclusion of this match. Was a decent match. Was all right. Bailey wins with a jackknife pin. This match, there was a lot of chaos throughout. Even towards the end, when Raquel Rodriguez tried to make the save for Liv, what she did to put her foot on the rope, I don't think it was really Raquel's fault. I think Liv wasn't close enough to the rope. And so when she tried to throw Liv's foot up there on the rope, Liv basically had to extend herself. Where I really don't think she would have actually broke that 3 count. But that said, decent match, very long match. Now, I know this is very typical, especially when you're going into a major pay-per-view or PLE, that they try to lessen the amount of matches to save a lot of the talent, especially if they're going to have a big match on the WrestleMania card, right? So, Bailey and Liv being that they're on the Mania card, Liv defending her title nonetheless, tag title. They really dragged this match out. There's a couple matches that went much longer than you would typically expect them to go. What do we have tonight? We'll get to it in a little bit. We had, what was it, AJ Styles versus Karrion Kross. Good to see Karrion Kross out there. Who else do we have? We had Rey Mysterio in a match as well, where he almost got injured too. He almost got injured on the outside. So he was up against Julius Creed. Yeah, Julius Creed, I believe, of American Made. So we'll get to all that. Do I think what's up there, Jesus? Do I think Chad Gable is the one wearing the mask? I do. So, hey, who knows? Maybe they'll shock us or surprise us, and it is or was somebody else the past month plus. But I'm with the belief that the school of thought that it is Chad. But I'm here for it. If it is somebody else, then wow. But we'll see. Very PG. Yes, Nas, absolutely. Very PG response before. But anyway, again, cool match, physical match. These two have went at it before, and we'll see them in action again. I don't think that Liv and Raquel are going to drop. I think the biggest thing when you look at it was this. They wanted to make sure they got Bailey on the WrestleMania card. If you remember WrestleMania 37, they snubbed her in Tampa, right? When they went back to a full live crowd for the first time in about a year's time. And Bailey, like her or not, she was one of the focal points of the women's division throughout the Thunderdome era. Namely as champion, SmackDown Women's Champion, a tag team champion with Sasha Banks again. And for her to not have a match at WrestleMania 37 was a crime. So for her to have beaten Io last year at Mania for the Women's Championship and then to not have her on the card this year would have felt a little weird. I mean, personally, I wouldn't have lost sleep over it. But I guess it was kind of like an out of respect thing to at least put Bailey on the Mania card at this stage of her career to make sure she got on there, storyline or not. And if you're not going to have Lyra defend her IC title, which I'm very surprised at, both her and Chelsea, the U.S. title as well, they figured this is how they, kill two birds, one stone type of deal. We'll get Bailey on here. We'll get Lyra on here. We'll put them together as a tag team. Didn't really agree with them beating all 5 teams in a gauntlet on Friday, though. You could have brought them in midway. I wouldn't have had them beat every single team. What's that about? That said, I don't see Liv and Raquel losing. I really don't. Nor am I really intrigued. I'm not saying Liv and Raquel is the best thing that I've seen in women's tag team division in years, but I'm not really intrigued with a Lyra Bailey tag team champions nonetheless going forward. So I don't know. Make of that what you want. Will it be a good match? I'm sure it will, but I'm sure Liv and Raquel will continue their title reign. And realistically, I don't care to see them lose those titles unless A, they have a really juicy feud at some point in time with somebody, or B, we eventually get Alexa joining the Wyatt Six whenever they show up on TV again. Get Alexa, Nikki Cross, and pair them up together, and then have them eventually dethrone a Raquel and Liv Morgan. And the thing here is if you're going to dethrone Liv and Raquel, I don't know about Raquel as far as whether they'll stay together or not as a duo or with Judgment Day. But if you're going to dethrone Liv, I'm not saying you got to throw another title right on her. But what I am saying is you got to throw Liv into something of significance, even if it is in the IC title picture or the US title picture. You can't just leave her floundering because it just would not make sense to not utilize Liv in some regard. She doesn't need to be going for a world championship, but you definitely got to have her in some kind of hunt, So anyway, let's move forward. After that, we then went to again, we got a bunch of video packages throughout this, as I said at the top of the show. Very good throughout. Bianca, Rhea, Io for that triple threat. It's going to be great. But let's just get to the next match that took place. Julius Creed versus Rey Mysterio. All right match. Again, there's a scary spot later in the match where Rey was supposed to basically tossed Julius over the top rope, and Ray ended up flying over. Thank God he's got those good veteran instincts and moves, like he's like it's still 2005 because he's just amazing at what he's capable of doing. Not only just at his size but at his age. This ended with Rey Mysterio winning by pinfall with a slingshot splash. Um, there was all kinds of interference towards the end of this match. We would see El Grande Americano, his opponent for WrestleMania, up there on the apron, trying to cause the distraction, but that didn't work. And earlier in this match, there was so much nonsense going on the outside between the LWO and American Made that they got tossed. The referee, Chad Patton, had enough, and he said, "Get the hell out of here." And so they made their way backstage. But then we'd see El Grande Americano try to, screw things up for Ray later in the match. I'm going to see. Oh God, Nas. I bet you will, man. Appreciate that comment. Hey, keep it coming, man. That's cool. Um, so following this, we had AJ Styles versus Karrion Kross. Now it was good to see Kross. I forget. Did Karrion Kross have different theme music for a while? I totally forgot because I was thinking. I feel like I haven't heard the Dead Silent theme. That's the name of his theme song from NXT, where he would come out with obviously his wife and valet, Scarlett. I feel like we haven't seen that rendition of his theme or that look in a while, so it's good to see him come out there. Said he's wearing regular trunks. He wore the tights, wore the pants out there. Thought it was a relatively good look for him with the long hair. It's much different than we saw him in NXT with the bald head, which a lot of us thought not only was he doing better record wise or title wise than NXT, but he just had more of a badass look in NXT. I think a lot of us would agree. Even Van Vliet brought it up to Karrion Kross in one of his recent interviews. Would you go back to that shaving your head where you did find a lot of success and we're having an amazing run? And he as Cross went on and put it, he said there would have to be a reason. Like I wouldn't just shave my head to shave my head because it's Monday or Tuesday. He's like, if there was some kind of story in it or some kind of personality change, something on camera that would have to make him go back to his old ways where he did maybe find that success. So I get it, but Cross looks cool with the long hair. I could get used to it. One thing you can't, you got to give Karrion Kross credit. You may not like him, whether it's promo, ring, who knows, but he does try different things, and Cross does dare to be different. He hasn't quite found his step yet. Something that's really stuck to make him a main player in either the mid card and certainly not the main picture yet. But I hope that one day he really makes his way and leaves his mark, man. Whether that results into a title reign at some point, hopefully, but because I do like the duo of him and Scarlett. I think Scarlett just has an awesome mystique to her that really, makes him feel important. Obviously, it's not making him feel important enough, but I mean, he's trying different things. So we'll see what happens there. Anyway, Styles won this match with a phenomenal forearm. A post-match, Logan Paul, AJ Styles' WrestleMania opponent, made his entrance, gets on the mic, says he came out here to congratulate Styles on a good win in Sacramento in front of people who weren't cool enough for Los Angeles or smart enough for San Francisco. And he showed everyone why their match is going to cook. Now he wants to show why their match is going to make money. And then he ran a video package on himself. Talked about him being rich and successful and blah, 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 blah. Cross tried to attack AJ from behind, but AJ was ready. Styles took Karrion out, but Paul clobbered then AJ Styles with a punch and hit him with a pulverizer. So, again, this match is going to be one of the enjoyable. Honestly, a lot of the non-title matches at WrestleMania this weekend look to be pretty good. AJ Styles, Logan Paul. Say what you want about this next one. Drew McIntyre, Damian Priest. It's going to deliver. I know a lot of people out there want to see Drew McIntyre in more of a high-profile kind of matchup, whether that means title implications or not. But for what it's worth, man, this story dates back to last year at Mania, if you like it or not, when Damian Priest cashed in his Money in the Bank briefcase on Drew McIntyre, who had just defeated Seth Rollins to become World Heavyweight Champion. So there's story there. And then Naomi and Jade speaks for itself, man. Not only has that been one of the more interesting stories in the women's division here, out of the 4 matches for the women on Mania, that is the only match that is a non-title match, Naomi and Jade. And dare I say, that's been the most interesting story. I think that's absolutely legit. I'm a big fan of the Io, Rhea, and Bianca match. I'm looking forward to that a lot, believe you me. It's going to be great just from a talent standpoint and all that they've accomplished on NXT and the main roster especially. But that being said, as far as a gripping story, it's Naomi and Jade has been much, much better. So looking forward to that. Looking forward to that. So next up here, we had main event Jey Uso make his way out for a little bit in the crowd. And after a good long while soaking in the atmosphere, we got some yeet chants and stuff. He got on the mic. He said what he had to say to Gunther last week on Raw. So this week he came out to address the crowd. He says his mom is somewhere in the crowd, and everybody keeps asking him where he's at. He's crashing out, but he's locked in, not just for himself, but for his family and for the fans. Listening to Gunther talk earlier made him feel like he must be mad, afraid too, that he's going to get his ass whooped for the world title in front of 60,000 people. He's going to see him on Saturday, but for now, he says, hit my music. And that was that. Dapped up Michael Cole and Pat McAfee as he always does. Crowd was loving it. Jay came out serious tonight. He came out serious much like he did last week. But this time he came out in all black this week. I think he had a pair of Ray-Bans on or something. He wasn't even wearing his Yeet glasses. So he meant business tonight. So before I get to Finn Balor and Penta, guys, I just want to ask you, if you're new here, do me a favor. And if you could, please subscribe to the channel. All right, subscribe to Turnbuckle Topics. Hit that thumbs up if you like what you're getting here tonight. And going forward, we're going to be talking a lot more throughout the course of this week for WrestleMania 41. Right now it's still the 13-match card, presumably 14. If we get Randy Orton and Solo Sikoa made official, maybe in the coming days, they could announce that at any given moment. I mean, they could wait till Friday. They could wait till SmackDown to let us know. But I have a funny feeling if they're going to make that match, they might have Nick Aldis, announce it Wednesday, midweek or something. So they always have Aldis or Pierce announce for either of the GMs for Raw or SmackDown, breaking news and stuff like that. So, but no matches were made official tonight. I think the last match that was made official was over the weekend or Friday with Kofi and Xavier. The New Day going up against the War Raiders for those World Tag titles. And then Damian Priest, Drew McIntyre was also made official over the weekend. So now here we have Finn Balor and Penta. Now these are two of the four men that are going to be in the Fatal 4-Way for the Intercontinental Championship at WrestleMania this weekend. Now I believe Cole went on record to say that this is the first time there's going to be a Fatal 4-Way for the Intercontinental Championship at WrestleMania. And I thought we got that at WrestleMania 34. But maybe that was a triple threat. It was, and because I can only remember three of the guys in that match, so maybe it was. I want to say WrestleMania 34 New Orleans. It was Seth Rollins, Finn Balor, and maybe The Miz. I don't know if that was correct. But I'm thinking, those were the three in an Intercontinental title match at WrestleMania 34. But either way, this is going to be great. We'll talk about this match in just a moment. What if Damage Control turns heel on Io and Julia is revealed as the new leader? Yeah, I find that to be very interesting there, 31. I mean, I don't think there's any validity to the second part of that. I don't think Julia is going to be making her way up anytime soon. Who knows? We know Julia's leaning into the heel character. We saw that last Tuesday when she returned with the blue hair, stepping on the head of Stephanie, who took the title from her 1 month ago at Madison Square Garden Theater at Roadblock. But I am intrigued with the fact that they could turn heel on her. But here's my thing. The only person that's actively back, I mean, not to say they can't return. I'm joking here. Not to say that they can't return. Asuka and Kyrie, I assume, would have to return for that heel turn because Dakota would be the only other person, right? It's really come down to Io and Dakota these past several months. And Asuka and Kyrie have been out for a very long time. I know Kyrie's been out since December, and Asuka's been out even longer than that. So, I'm intrigued with that whole turning heel on Io bit, but I don't know if they would be ready to bring Julia up at this moment in time. But that'd be intriguing. That'd be really cool. But I think they're going to let Julia stay down or stay with NXT, shall I say, for a little bit longer. Regardless if she is to win that title back from Stephanie at Stand and Deliver or not. Brian, what's up there, my friend? How we doing in the chat? Good to see you, brother. Guys, if you are not already, we're almost wrapping up this Monday Night Raw review in a little bit. Be sure to hit that like button, hit the thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, okay? Welcome. If you're new here, we're reviewing Monday Night Raw. I'll be back here Friday night, immediately following SmackDown, to go over Friday Night SmackDown and lead into the preview of WrestleMania 41 in Las Vegas this weekend. So I'm excited for it. I know the build's been very up and down, but again, I do think they are absolutely going to deliver on a great weekend of pro wrestling. So right now, 13 matches. Assume we're going to get 14 if we get Randy and Solo. And who knows what else they may add in the interim. Okay, Brian, I see the update. All right, man. Well, thanks for stopping in here. Appreciate you, man. Um, I am doing well. Thank you very much, Brian. Right now, we're going over this Finn Balor and Penta match. Now, look, Finn Balor won this by disqualification. Things got chaotic, to say the least. I think we got to see all the members of this match, right? Jumping to the end here, we saw a victory roll, a pin attempt from Finn Balor. Didn't work out. Penta lays some kicks in, super kick. Then we see Dom Mysterio and Carlito then appear. Balor tried a schoolboy for the 2 to no avail. Another sling blade, shotgun drop kick, set him up. Finn went up to the apron, but Braun Breaker would then appear with a spear. That is one Finn had won by disqualification. And Braun was absolutely cleaning house, spearing Dom and Carlito, a little 2-for-1 special at the same time. Penta cut him off with a knee and follows it with a kick combo. Sends him to the floor. We see him come off the top. And things got pretty hectic in a hurry. I think the last man standing was Penta, if I'm not mistaken, when all this after all this chaos ensued. And Finn Balor was seen at the back of the aisleway, making his way back to Gorilla. So you saw Braun Breaker on the outside and Carlito and Dom, who were all just taken out by Penta, right? But then Penta made his way back in the ring. So yeah, that's how that went. I'm excited for this match. I really don't know where to go with the IC title match. You know, I do want to say Braun's going to retain, but I'm not sold on it. I'm really not sold on it. A lot of people, I think the guy who's least likely to win this match is probably Finn Balor, right? A lot of people are lobbying for Dom Mysterio to get this big win at Mania. Not just a Mania win, but an IC title win at Mania. So could I see Dom Mysterio winning this IC title? Absolutely. Now, could I see Penta sneaking in an IC title win? Sure, because at the same time, you know, the Lucha Bros will eventually be put together like they were supposed to from day one if Rey Fenix didn't have to be locked up with AEW for a little bit longer when Penta made his way here in January. That's why Rey Fenix only debuted at the beginning of April on SmackDown. So, you know, they may just continue on with this Penta momentum in singles, and they may throw the IC title on him. And a lot of people will love that. Others may not like it because they want to see Dom get that title. And then, you know, there's some Braun Breaker and obviously Finn Balor fans that probably want to see either one of them either be a new, see Finn get the IC title yet again or see Braun retain. So it's really hard to call this one. I kind of want to go with the safe bet and go with Braun Breaker retaining, but I have a few days till I make my official predictions. But most of these, weeks and months, I've kind of been leaning towards Braun retaining at Mania. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Curious to see what happens. I appreciate that. Thanks for the compliment on the hat there, Bri. Yeah, so getting to your question, do I think Penta will win the IC title? Again, man, it's hard for me to say. I'll say this. Right now, I'm still leaning towards Braun Breaker retaining, but if there is a new champion come WrestleMania, if there is a new IC champion, if it's mainly between like a Dom Mysterio probably and a Penta, I think Penta might do it, man. I know the reward for him only being with the company a few months is getting an IC title match at Mania. That's awesome unto itself. I'm sure Rey Fenix, who wouldn't want to be on this Mania card if possible already, but I don't know. If the title does change hands, I could see them giving it to Penta over a Finn or even a Dom. But yeah, I'm still not totally sold. But hey, we shall see. 31. Name a pro wrestler whose hate is forced. I mean, lately, I would even have to say Jey Uso. A lot of people just outright don't like him. I don't know if it's because he's getting this main title opportunity against Gunther. People thought it should have been someone else. People can't see him being, a star outside of a tag team wrestler. They may think he has limited moveset. I don't know. As many people that love Jey Uso, there's a good crowd that despises him in every which way. So, talking about hate is forced or undeserved hate, that's one that comes to mind for me, man. Now it says, if I'm booking it, Finn wins, Liv helps. Ooh, interesting. Okay. I would not be mad at that. I really could not be mad at that. I'm a big Finn Balor fan. They haven't done right by him in singles in a very, very long time. Even though he had 2 or 3 tag title runs over the past couple of years, with Judgment Day, twice, right? 2-time undisputed tag champ with Damian Priest, and then he was a world tag champ summertime, right, or going into the fall for quite a few months. Even though they had very minimal title defenses, right? Him and JD McDonough, they have 3 title defenses, maybe 4, in the course of what was it, 120, 140 days or something like that. But yeah, he hasn't really had a solid singles run in a while. Talking about Damian Priest and Finn Balor, if you remember, what was it, 2021 maybe? 2021, early 22, something like that. But I remember the last singles title I think Finn held was the U.S. title, right, on Raw. And believe it or not, I think it was Damian Priest who he had dropped it to, or vice versa. But the irony there is, they had been feuding back and forth for that U.S. title at the time. I do recall that, and so they've been synonymous for quite a few years, going as rivals, then as tag team champions, and then as rivals again. Right, the past year since Finn screwed Damian at SummerSlam out of his World Heavyweight Championship. So let's see. 31 says Dom wins by the help of Liv, and then Dom kisses Liv. All right, so a lot of you have Liv helping out, fellow Judgment Day members. One of you have Liv and Finn. Another one of you have Liv and Dirty Dom. Now, the thing here is, I could see either one of those based on the sense that obviously they're all in Judgment Day together. Liv and Dom on screen have been together for almost a year now. And also, even before all that, that conjured up this whole mess and tension within Judgment Day, issues with Dom and Rhea, leading Dom to Dom and Liv, is a lot of people thought Finn Balor and Liv Morgan were the masterminds behind this. If you recall, let's talk about that whole room key thing, right? I forget the specifics of how it went down because it was well over a year ago, but Finn Balor, getting the room key or something like that was allegedly Dom had with Liv, or Liv dropped him a room key. So I would not be surprised when all this is said and done, as many of us think that Finn is going to be on the outside looking in when this whole Judgment Day thing is a wrap. Or a lot of people think that after Mania weekend that Finn may be on the outside looking in. It could just as easily be Dom. I mean, I think a lot more people will be surprised at that outcome. But if Liv is the mastermind alongside with Finn just working everybody this past year plus, then hey, kudos to them. That'd be interesting stuff. So anyway, this was around the time we had the third promo package video. Again, we got Bianca earlier in the night. We had Rhea in the middle of the show, and then we had Eos, the World Heavyweight Champion, later in the night, basically saying, they're overlooking her. I am the World Heavyweight Champion. How many times have they had in-ring segments, whether it was a contract signing, just a face-to-face where it got down to the nitty-gritty of Bianca and Rhea going face-to-face, totally, disregarding Io. Ego's like, hey, how about me? I know I'm shorter. I know my English may not be there like you two, but all that aside, I'm a great champion and a damn good professional wrestler. These are 3 of the best women's wrestlers, not just in WWE, but you could argue anywhere. So I'm excited for this match. I really am. As much as I would have loved this to be a singles contest, whether it was originally going to be Rhea versus Bianca. Obviously, Rhea dropped her title 2 nights after Bianca won her spot from Elimination Chamber, as to why we then had Bianca and Io. And then Rhea weaseled her way in the past month. So I'm not crazy about how Rhea went about that, but that said, this will be a very, very enjoyable match. I'm sure it will. So here we were, going to the main event segment of the night. And this is where we saw Paul Heyman catching up with CM Punk. And we then would see Roman. We would see Roman see them from afar, obviously not happy at all. Because CM Punk made his way over to Paul Heyman first, I believe. Says he's never seen him so stressed, and he's here to calm, Paulie down. He asks him to look in his eyes. What does he see? Hence the theme song of CM Punk. Paul, of course, takes the bait for the cult of personality reference, but Punk says no, he's a real friend who's there for him. Again, while this happened, Reigns pulls up, gets out of the vehicle without saying a word, storming past Paul. Paul then got up to rush, going after his tribal chief, but he wasn't having it, man. Now, we were back from a commercial break. Roman Reigns gave the cold shoulder to Paul Heyman. Got a mic from the production crew, I believe. It totally ignored Paul Heyman's, microphone. He was going to give it to Roman, as he always has for the last 4 or 5 years, right? Wasn't about that. Reigns then asked the crowd Sacramento to acknowledge him and says the whole world understands how much they love the tribal chief and that they would never betray him, but not everyone is like them. Some people would betray him, and asked Sacramento to guess who he's referencing or who he's talking about. Obviously, everybody knew it was Paul Lee. They're all chanting, "You effed up." Roman said, "What was that?" To rub it in, let Paul know a little bit louder. You're effing up, Paul. With this whole CM Punk bit. Reigns says he must be confused because the way favors usually work is you pay them back yourself. because, Paul Heyman was claiming that this was not a betrayal, Roman. I'm not just siding with CM Punk or anybody for that matter because I want to. We're helping him out because of him helping us out at Survivor Series War Games. And Roman's rebuttal is simply stated that I never asked for CM Punk to join our team. You brought him in and you conjured this up on your own. So that's on you, Paul. That has nothing to do with me. But Roman then said it feels like the only person getting screwed here is him. And there's one thing you know about Roman Reigns. He's not ever going to ask for a favor, takes what he wants, and he doesn't owe anybody anything because he didn't ask for help in the first place. And now he's supposed to cover the tab for Heyman's quote-unquote dumbass favor, as he went on to say. Then we would see Seth Rollins make his entrance. He joins in saying Roman is finally getting it after a decade plus. Finally piecing it all together, but he's missing one little piece, but it's too little too late because Seth still has to end him come WrestleMania. And for the same reason it's always been, because it's the right thing to do. He says this triple threat will be the biggest, most important match in the history of wrestling because the winner will define the future of their industry. He says if the business is full of people like Roman who only show up when it's convenient, and guys like Punk, because he took his ball and went home with it, if it's full of guys like Roman and Punk, then basically he's saying it dies, the industry. So Seth is taking on the responsibility of saying, I need to win this because it's bigger than just us three. It's about the trajectory of WWE and pro wrestling, yada, yada, yada. I get his point. Like Seth or not, I get his point. Let me see. Okay, chat's all caught up. Guys, what was your favorite part of the show, by the way, as I wrap up here in a little bit? What did you enjoy most about Monday Night Raw? I would love to hear your feedback. Again, if you're making your way in here, guys, hit that like button. All right, hit that thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button as well. And I hope to see you guys throughout the course of this week when I hop on live talking all kinds of WrestleMania stuff. And the next live review I'll probably be doing on YouTube is here Friday night, immediately following SmackDown. We're going to talk about it. And we're going to be right up leading into WrestleMania 41 weekend, man. What's up there, Chris? It was so cool. Seth is your favorite? Awesome. Yeah, the ending was probably one of my favorite parts of this show, if not the best part of it as well. I really like the subtleties we're getting with Seth, man, and Paul Heyman. It's getting good. What was that, Nas? What was that comment you said? So let me get back to what Seth had to go say here. Seth goes on to say, Reigns, favors don't happen by chance. They are a choice. He chose not to put Paul Heyman in the hospital last week with a curb stomp. And he gets to choose whether or not he repays that debt. And seeing as Heyman is a dishonorable scumbag, he said, Rollins expects nothing from Paul. Paul isn't in CM Punk's corner at WrestleMania by chance. He has made a choice. And so he's choosing Punk over Roman. And what Reigns needs to ask is why he do that. Roman admits Seth is right and says Heyman has made his choice. And Reigns says, I've made mine as well. He attacks Rollins, lays him out, takes him down to the floor. Paul Heyman acknowledges his tribal chief, but Reigns pushed Heyman down by the face. Pushed him right down to the ground. CM Punk then made the save, sends Roman over the ropes, and Punk goes on and checks on Paul Heyman. And, he was shocked. Punk turned around, Reigns with a spear. See a few punches back and forth. Rollins returns with a chair to the back. This is a June 2014 callback, or you could call it an April 7th, 2024 callback to when Reigns had then hit Seth, right? But this is a callback to initially when Seth had struck Roman and the Shield split in June of 2014. Almost damn near in that same exact spot in the center of the ring. So Seth, he hit Reigns with that chair shot. And then we would then see a curb stomp. Blackout curb stomp to CM Punk. And then he does it to Roman, I believe. And Paul Heyman was staring at Rollins diagonally from the opposite corners, cowering in fear, and that's how this show went off air. So I found this to be a very intriguing and compelling segment. And there were a few lines I did miss in regards to what Seth had to say that is really going to help me lead to what I want to further discuss. I'm trying to find it here. Let me see. So this is what Seth said. He said, it's full of people like himself who sacrifice for what is best for business. Then it will go on and thrive. So the best for business line is what we need to really focus on here tonight, because if you remember Best for Business, I mean, you could date back to a lot of corporate people who said Best for Business, whether it was Triple H and Stephanie saying Best for Business in years previous. John Cena, after he lost at the Royal Rumble to Jey Uso, said when he declared his spot for the Elimination Chamber, March 1st, right in Toronto, he said, "I'm doing what's best for business." Seth is saying, alluding to best for business. I'm starting to think, guys, that Seth may not only be leaving with Heyman, win, lose, or draw at WrestleMania. And I do think right now I'm going with Seth Rollins. I'm fully anticipating Seth Rollins to get the victory at WrestleMania in this triple threat. Now, is that flat out all done by him? Is it because Paul Heyman turns on a Roman or a Punk? I don't know how it's obviously going to go down, but I do think Seth gets the victory, leaves with Paul Heyman. This is all part of a bigger picture. It's not just Seth and Heyman. It's Seth and Heyman then making their way to what I see is to be The Rock. I see him joining up with The Rock. We'll see, obviously, technically with Cena as well. Who knows how long Cena will remain heel? So he will join that group, this corporate group, this team corporate, as people have been alluding to the past week or so. And I think there's a lot of validity to that. So I do see Seth winning, leaving with Heyman, and then joining a bigger thing where a lot of us never would have thought this possible a month. Especially a year ago, with that whole WrestleMania build, right, with Rock and Roman on one side and Cody and Seth on the other. Night one, whoever wins, gets the advantage going into night two. Obviously, Rock pinned Cody for the Bloodline Rules match to take place in night two. And it's just pretty insane. All these guys that were involved in that Bloodline Rules match, whether it be on the side of Reigns or on the side of Cody last year, obviously Rock was on the side of Reigns. And last year, Cena and Rollins basically being the reason that Cody was able to get that victory because it distracted Roman enough where it led to Cody winning at the end. So all these guys that were involved in that match, and now I think they'll all be aligned this year with The Rock, Cena, Seth, Heyman. Crazy. I think this is the team corporate. Whether they add a female member or not, we'll see. Does Becky come back and join us, Seth? Who knows? Do we get a different female? Do we even... I'm not saying we don't need a female, but at this moment, who knows? But I think that is exactly where we're headed. And I'm intrigued by it. I got to say, I really am intrigued by it. Let me see some comments here. Did you hear about what Triple H said about the IWC? No, Nas, I did not. I did not hear what Triple H said about the IWC. Outside of the fact that the vast majority are incredibly toxic, which I couldn't agree more. But what did he say? Wrestling Unleashed. How we doing? Salute, my friend. Welcome in. Guys, if you have not already, subscribe to the channel. Hit that thumbs up. Hit the like before we wrap up here in a couple of minutes. Thank you for joining me for this Monday Night Raw review. Hopefully you enjoyed it as much as I did. I will be back on here immediately following Friday Night SmackDown this Friday, obviously. Talking about the go-home episode leading into the weekend. That is WrestleMania 41. So be sure to join me Friday and this weekend, of course. We'll have plenty to discuss, I'm sure. So hit the subscribe, hit that thumbs up button on this live, and I appreciate you being here. Chris says, I have a feeling we will have 4 or 5 new title changes. Okay. Unleash, let's see. I got Charlotte Dominic. Let me see if I can quote for you. Okay, Nas, appreciate that, man. But again, guys, that pretty much sums up what took place here tonight on Monday Night Raw. Whether you saw the show or not, again, I really enjoyed this segment, and I'm curious what's going to happen with Seth, man. I really am. I do think he gets the victory, though. I do think Seth gets the win at Mania for sure. And I've liked this more serious side of him the last couple of weeks. I really have. The less flamboyant. He hasn't really been doing the colorful stuff. You noticed lately, the last couple of weeks, he's been all business. And I think that business leads him to being corporate, quite literally, with The Rock, when all is said and done. So, all part of a bigger picture. Him and Heyman getting together is all part of a master plan. It's not just about Seth having Heyman in his corner, which I think will help him a lot, in a lot of ways. And, again, teaming up with The Rock going forward, whatever that may mean, I'm curious to see what happens, man. I'm very interested to see what happens because I think Seth, as over as Seth is, don't get me wrong, I'm ready for something new with Seth Rollins. So I think he could use a little bit of a refreshing, a little bit of a rejuvenated vibe. Not saying he necessarily needs to turn full-blown heel, but if that's what it takes, then I'm here for it. Because the last time Seth was a real outright heel was, 2020? When he was the Messiah during the Thunderdome. The Monday Night Messiah, and I think most would say, that was the least popular character of his throughout the past, 12 to 15 years of him being on the main roster. So I think this could be fun. I think that this could be a lot of fun. All right, guys. I will take any last comments, questions, concerns about Monday Night Raw tonight. Leading up to this weekend, WrestleMania 41 weekend. Feel free to chime in the chat. Again, thank you for being here, guys. Appreciate you joining me on this Monday night. Chris says, you think Jay is the only one that will be a new champion, saying Cena will come close, but you think Stone Cold Steve Austin will help. I'm okay with that. I myself, Chris, have Cody retaining. I do think Cena wins the title later in the year. When? Obviously not quite sure when. But I do think Cena gets the 17 before he hangs it up. Just don't think it happens this weekend, man. Just don't think it happens this weekend. Now, look, could he win it as a heel still? Absolutely. I kind of see Cena winning later in the year, possibly even as a babyface again. 31 asks, what if Becky tricks us and returns at WrestleMania? Could absolutely see that happening, man. And I think the bigger question here as well is, if one Seth Rollins chooses to turn full heel and side with Heyman, vice versa, and it is part of a bigger picture with The Rock and Cena, does this mean Becky joins the fray? Obviously, just because they're together in real life doesn't mean that's how they need to be on television, right? But I think that'd be pretty interesting as well. And you know what? I love Becky Lynch's theme song, man. I know she's been rocking with it since pretty much the NXT days. I wouldn't mind a new theme for Becky. I really wouldn't mind. Now, I'm not saying it's like a be careful what you wish for, right? Because it's not to say it's going to be a better song. I just feel like she could use something different. Something new later in her career. That's just me. And that's, if she decides to remain a babyface, so be it. Not saying she only needs to change it if she goes heel. I wouldn't mind a change of pace on either side. I really wouldn't. Chris says, Jay and the New Day, new champions. Yeah, believe it or not, I haven't made my tag team prediction just yet there, Chris, but I would not at all be surprised if they had this heel New Day win the tag titles at Mania. I don't want to say why else would you do it at Mania, but it kind of feels like they gave this match to the New Day instead of the Street Profits and Motor City, almost to crown the heel New Day on WrestleMania, or at WrestleMania 41 in Vegas. That's what it kind of feels like. Like, why have the match just to have the War Raiders retain and against that team of all people? You know what I mean? Because I think a lot of us would agree that the Profits won about a month ago to the day or so on an episode of SmackDown. And I was in a school of thought, like I think many of us were, with where, the way the Profits were coming off since their return at the Rumble this year, February 1st, that we're like, hey, and whether it's a fatal 4-way, fatal 5-way at Mania for the SmackDown tag titles, or the WWE tag titles over there on SmackDown, that a lot of us were thinking the Street Profits were going to get it done and win those tag titles from DIY or from whomever when Mania came. But they gave it to them a month previous. So that kind of leads me to believe they did that on purpose, intentionally, to be like, all right, you know what? SmackDown Tag Division may not even have a match at Mania, so let's reward the Profits a month previous, and maybe they let this heel New Day. Now, don't get me wrong, the heel New Day could use momentum. They could use a shot in the arm like no other. They've booked the heel New Day terribly since their turn early December with the return of Big E during that 10-year anniversary bit. I was hyped for what was going to happen. And here we are, April, damn near 14th, 15th, middle of the month, and the New Day fell flat completely. I still like them. I still think they're more than capable, but to say, it's been underwhelming is an understatement. So I think maybe the New Day winning these tag titles at WrestleMania, I'm not saying that it's going to raise their stock a bunch. I think it's more of a personal accolade, if you ask me. What would that be? Their 12th or 13th tag title reign overall as the New Day. In a heel capacity, winning at Mania could be a good look for them. It absolutely is. But how relevant will that make them, or the Raw Tag Team division for that matter, going forward? That's the question we need to ask ourselves. And so I think that's why we're getting that match randomly put together on Mania that they randomly announced, I think Friday, right? Everybody's like, what the hell? They're like, A, we're getting this match at Mania, War Raiders versus the New Day for the World Tag Titles. And B, where the hell is the SmackDown Tag Team Division, and the Street Profits, who haven't won these titles, just won them for the first time in 4 years, 2 months, and however 10, 12 days. And how are they not on Mania defending these titles against DIY, against Motor City, against Pretty Deadly, against Los Garza, against all of them, right? So that was the real head scratcher to me. So to your point, Chris, about the New Day winning the tag titles at Mania, it makes a lot of sense. Otherwise, why have this match? And I like the War Raiders, I do, but it seems awfully random to just put this together just for the War Raiders to retain, because feud-wise, nobody cares. Do I think it will be a good match? I'm sure it will be. I am sure it will be. But to outright tell me that the War Raiders and New Day will be an oh my god type of match, or at least the build, if you even want to call it that, going into it, is more relevant than anything in the SmackDown Tag Team Division, that's a bold-faced lie, man. And now you got Motor City going up against the Street Profits on Friday Night SmackDown, the day before 2 nights of Mania. Like, come on. So what are we doing there? 31 says Alexa Bliss returning at Mania after Liv and Raquel retain their titles. Looking at Liv saying I come for you. Yeah, that'd be great. 31. Again, I would love to see that. I think when it is time for Liv and Raquel to drop those titles, it should be to Nikki Cross and Alexa Bliss. Again, we thought we were going to see a lot more. I'm sure there's a lot more to it as to why the Wyatt Six and Alexa have not been on TV. There's a lot going on there with Bo and stuff, but excuse me, I was hoping to see Alexa and Nikki on this card going up against Liv and Raquel for those titles, but I think they should be the people they drop to eventually. Triple H says internet and complaining on there is not real life. Yeah, I hear you, Nas. I mean, look, people complaining or voicing their opinions with legitimate reasons and rationale makes a world of sense, because don't get me wrong, all these wrestling companies, they all hear what the fans are saying. Now, whether they choose to change things or whatever, that's up to them, obviously. People like to complain in general, especially the IWC. They're never happy. But what I will say is, whenever you hear me, I can't speak for any other content creator or any other random Joe Schmo that has, no profile picture and just, commenting nonsense in chats. What I can say here is that whenever you hear me get on here and say something that I either love or I very much dislike, I will tell you as to why I love said thing, or why I think there's room for improvement as far as a certain storyline or lack thereof or feud or match goes. So, when you come on here to Turnbuckle Topics, you're going to get the best from Pat. And not everything's great. Not everything's sunshine and rainbows, nor should it be. So, not everybody should be a yes man with everything. And not everybody should be driving everything into the ground thinking everything's terrible, because everything is not terrible. And that's regardless what promotion you watch. You cannot tell me that you can't watch a whole show and tell me there's not one thing you like from a certain show. So, but I get where he's coming from, man. I get where Trips is coming from. A great match that you want to see this weekend is Drew versus Damian, Chris. I hear you, man. I'm here for it too. And again, as I said earlier in this live, a lot of people are not looking forward to it. I don't know if it's just because of the feud, or they think Damian Priest is bland, or they are just upset or outraged that Drew isn't in something bigger. And I get the upset nature of wanting to see Drew in something bigger, and he's not, title or not. But again, this storyline dates back to last WrestleMania, so I get it. And I think this is going to be a great match. Again, a lot of these singles matches that don't have any title implications are going to be good. As I said, this and Drew and Damian, AJ and Logan, Jade and Naomi. It's going to be good stuff, man. It's going to be good. So, again, guys, I'm out of here in a couple minutes. I want to thank you for spending your Monday night with me for this Raw post show, this review, if you will. And if you haven't already, guys, hit that like button, all right? Hit that thumbs up, hit the subscribe. And I can't wait to get back here with you guys later in the week and discuss a whole hell of a lot more, man. A whole hell of a lot more. So hit that subscribe button, guys, and the like. And again, you could also follow me at Turnbuckle Topics on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, and X. So any more questions, comments before I get out of here? Chime in now or forever hold your peace till later in the week. LA Knight, Jacob for 2. Yeah, LA Knight Jacob will be good. Again, a lot of people obviously want to see Jacob win. Me too. I'm not overly impressed with LA Knight's U.S. title runs. Nothing personal. Nothing personal. I think a lot of us are also just excited for Jacob for 2 with the singles title. But I don't think it happens because Solo Sikoa, I think a lot of us know that Solo Sikoa is going to screw it up for Jacob probably. And then we see that fallout happen at Backlash, right? We see that match take place at Backlash where presumably Jacob Fatu will get the win. I don't know if it's going to be a one and done match with him and Solo. I think it easily could be. I don't need to see a series of matches between Jacob and Solo. I really don't. Um, Let Jacob win in convincing fashion. Now, should he squash Solo at Backlash? I don't want to get ahead of myself. Should Jacob be squashing Solo Sikoa at Backlash? Absolutely not. But at the end of the day, should it be a definitive victory where people don't have to wonder and say, "Oh, are we going to get a rematch, or is this going to be like a series, best out of 3 or 5?" No, Jacob goes and handles business at Backlash May 10th in St. Louis. Jacob take down Solo, and that be that. And then Jacob just moves on. Could he still be with Tama Tonga or Tangaloa? Sure, but realistically, man, I would just let Jacob Fatu go on his own and do his own thing. And if you so choose to have Tama Tonga Tangaloa with Solo, or if you just decide to blow up the whole thing, I'd be okay with that too. Let Jacob go his way, Solo go his way. Tangaloa, I'm assuming Tangaloa is going to be expected back any day now. I'm not quite sure. But whenever he comes back, or even if it's going to be a while, let Tama Tonga do his own thing for a little bit. I mean, can't get much worse, whether he's with a group or not. Tama Tonga can't buy a victory. Every Friday night, he's looking up at the lights, and usually in the main event. So, would it kill him to give Tama Tonga a victory over somebody? I mean, goodness gracious. But, that's... I'm looking forward to a lot of these matches, though. As I look at this card before I get out of here, again, I'm not doing predictions or anything, but we got 7 matches night 1, 6 matches night 2. I'll say night 1, the match I'm probably most looking forward to, night 1, would obviously off the jump would have to be Reigns, Punk, and Seth for sure, and everything that's going to go on there. Outside of that, I mean, 2 women's matches that could get very, very catty that are taking place that night is Jade and Naomi and Tiffany and Charlotte. Especially the Tiffany Charlotte, man. That one might really go off the rails. So maybe I'm excited for that match for all the wrong reasons. Gunther Jay should be a very good emotional bout. It will. It will feel like a movie. I really do think Gunther and Jay will feel like a movie. I'm sure Ray will beat El Grande Americano. Then he unmasks him. And then we find out, is it Chad? Who is it? All that. Chris goes on to say, I think Solo will help Jacob win. Okay, so you think Solo helps Jacob win. All right. Interesting. Yeah, see, I think Solo cost Jacob, and then they could finally split, and that's when Jacob absolutely loses it. This is my Mania debut for a title. You ruined it. That was the last straw, and now Jacob is absolutely not going to accept anything Solo has to say, and that's how you completely break them up. That's how I would do it in a definitive nature. We all know Jacob's destined for singles gold in the mid card and the main card in due time. So he doesn't have to win this one at Mania. I also think it's this U.S. title reign for LA Knight, if he so lost to Jacob Fatu, wouldn't have even hit 2 months, right? The second title reign. At least the first one was almost 4 months. That one was kind of lackluster, so this would definitely not be a good look for LA Knight. Not to say losing to Jacob Fatu would be bad at all, but I'm saying having a very short second U.S. title reign with both of them not being memorable. Not to say this one will be, but at least let him get past Jacob, right? No more Bloodline storyline. 31 for the time being. I would kind of fall back with the Bloodline storyline. We all know it's never over, man. They got family upon family upon family in other promotions, Performance Center, whatever, the Bloodline. So they could always rekindle at any moment in time. So I think, after Jacob and Solo feud and go their separate ways, and, Tama Tangaloa eventually get together when Tangaloa's better, see what they do in tag. Yeah, we'll see. But I think it's okay to take a little bit of a break from the Bloodline saga. I don't think anybody's really going to have an issue with that. And so for now, then at Backlash, Solo vs. Jacob. Yeah, exactly, Chris. That's what I was just saying. So again, guys, thank you for being here tonight. I'm going to make my way out of here. If you haven't already, again, hit that subscribe button, hit that thumbs up, hit the like. And at absolute latest here on YouTube, I hope to see each and every one of you after SmackDown for a full review, just like we had tonight for Monday Night Raw, Go Home Show for Mania. Friday Night SmackDown review. I'll see you immediately after the show. I can't wait to talk about it. And WrestleMania 41, guys, regardless of what the build has done or it's been lacking, just understand that both of these nights are going to be good. There's more than enough. Even if you don't, it's hard to love every match on a card, right? But there will be a lot of matches that we will be talking about, both after night 1 and after night 2 when I go and do my review on here with you guys as well. So I hope you guys better get used to this face, man, and this voice, because Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, I will be on here immediately following all 3 shows. After SmackDown, after night 1 of WrestleMania, and after night 2 of WrestleMania. We'll be on here for a full review of all 3 of those shows. So, again, thank you guys. Chris, yeah, I may pop over to TikTok in a few minutes, man. Probably, what is it, about 12:15 or so Eastern time here. I'll probably hop on there in about 10, 15 minutes, go on TikTok for a little bit. And again, I will catch you guys later on the week here on YouTube. Subscribe, hit that like button. Catch you soon. Thank you for spending your Monday night with me. Take care, guys.